Greetings to all the queens and welcome to the 7th masterclass session of the energy economy masterclasses. Well, this is probably the last masterclass that we will be having. Not necessarily the last, but the last of the formal masterclasses that we're having, where we are taught or where we are learning about the energy economy, about what we need to do to really start building this economy. Next week, we will be concentrating on the campaign. We are running a 30-day campaign that will be helping the queens who want to be in the top 50, preparing themselves for the 31st of August, where we will be doing the recognition awards. So basically today is more of a recap of what we've done in the past 6 masterclasses, and kind of summarizing what we have learned and what we will be taking with us after this masterclass. We basically left with 5 weeks, right, before the end of all the masterclass sessions, but this one is the last of our formal masterclasses. So yeah, we did talk about a lot of things that we're going to cover, but now I just want to remind you of one thing. I'm not sure if you did listen to the COP 27 last year, which was held in Davos, Switzerland, where we had one of the people who were speakers, Ray Dalio. You know, I kind of took note of what he said, because it was so profound and it really made us think of how we come with solutions for the future, or futuristic solutions. Well, Ray Dalio reminded us that cash is trash. And we can see that because there's so many things that are causing our cash to be trashed today. Not only the war between Ukraine and Russia, and not food shortages, not all of that, not COVID-19, but just a combination of everything. And are we surprised at that, really? We're not really surprised, because we know these are the signs of the end. These things have to happen before the end comes. But now what do we do? As we wait for the end of the system to come, we need to do what we can to try and come up with solutions. We are currently faced now with a digital crisis, and it needs a digital solution to fix it. That's why we are bringing to you the digital opportunity. Energy is a digital asset, right? That's why it's called digital energy. And we're going to go deeper into it in terms of why it is called a digital energy. But today is very interesting for me, because I'm going to be talking about something that's very dear to my heart. It is dear to my heart because I love thinking from the future, because that is what is going to help us bring sustainable solutions. We are in this mess today because there was not real planning, for the future. And now it is time that we as builders, as women, we think from the future, at least 10 years from the future. By the time we reach to the 10th year from now, we need to be having, a sustainable solution that is taking us through all these years. We don't want to be caught by surprise with challenges and crisis. We need to be prepared, and that's why we are having these master classes, so we prepare ourselves as this army of queens. We get together and take the solutions forward. So I want to share some slides with you. Just give me a moment while I connect. And yeah, it's very interesting times that we're living in. Where do I connect? Just a second. And I just need to connect to my slides, and then I can share briefly with you before I can make very interesting announcements. I think I have very interesting announcements today, some changes here and some new strategies there, and how we can move forward, because what we want is speed, and we want to really build this. They say money likes speed, right? So we want money, we need to be able to run with speed. Okay, let me just quickly just share my screen now. Welcome back to the slide presentation of our masterclass session. As I said, this is our seventh session of the masterclasses in the energy economy space. And, you know, just thinking of the video that we have just watched now of Little Knowledge, the reason why we're having these masterclasses, we want to gain knowledge, right? We have seen here how little knowledge can be of detriment to whatever it is that we're trying to do. Look at this cleaner, who tried to take a work of a pilot, a work that he never really studied for. Um, you know, Before we do anything, we need to be able to calculate our expenses. We need to be able to collect all the information and the skill that we need for the journey. We cannot fly ourselves into the air and not knowing how we are going to land, like this cleaner who ended up crashing because now he took everything step by step as he tried to fly himself. And as he was up in the sky, now he wants to land, he can't land because the next session that deals with that is in the bookstore. So he has to go and get the second volume in the bookstore. And where is he? He's in the air. And now we don't want to do that. We have this masterclass to help us through. This masterclass has been helping us look from the future to get the solutions from the future so that we know when we are up in the air, we know exactly how to land. And here today, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic to my heart, something that's very dear to my heart. We're talking about the future, we will be talking about the metaverse. But before that, we have this masterclass brought to you by the River Club Institute. And that is what has been bringing us here. Now, recapping on what we have done in the past 6 series of this masterclass, we have touched on the power failure, what causes the power failure, and we need to know why are we having these load shedding right now today. Why are we having the power cuts? Why are we having the shutdown? These problems didn't just come overnight. It is something that has been looming in the earth. And we have also seen, which I'm going to show in the next slide, how we got to be where we are. But today we are talking of power failures, we're talking of power generation, power transmission. All of these are part of the crisis because right now the current power stations that we have did not have a long term plan on how they will be maintained, on how they will take care of the growing number of people, the population. Now there is too much population and less supply. That's why we are having these power cuts, because now to be able to keep up the maintenance of our grids right now, we need to cut off, the power that is generated. So here we have another video as well that is talking about this. For us to understand what's happening, we need to understand how a heart works. And right now I am going to let you watch a video. And in this video, we will basically see what causes the heart failure and how the heart works. And after that, we shall be able to look into this in terms of what is happening around us today in the ESCOM, especially here in South Africa.
Your appetite and have the need to urinate a lot at night, you might have symptoms of heart failure. Heart failure is a long-term condition that usually comes on slowly. However, it can develop suddenly, for instance, after a heart attack. You have heart failure when your heart does not pump blood out of your heart very well, or when your heart muscles are stiff and do not easily fill up with enough blood. When you have heart failure, your heart cannot pump enough oxygen-rich blood to the rest of your body, especially when you exercise or move around a lot. As the heart loses the ability to pump enough blood, blood backs up in other parts of your body, including your lungs, liver, gastrointestinal tract, and your legs. The most common cause of heart failure is coronary artery disease, the narrowing of the blood vessels that supply blood and oxygen to your heart. So, what do you do if you have heart failure? Get to your doctor. You may have trouble breathing, an irregular heartbeat, swollen legs, neck veins that stick out, or sounds from fluid buildup in your lungs. Your doctor will check for these and other signs of heart failure. A test called an echocardiogram is often the best test to diagnose your heart failure. Your doctor can also use this test to find out why you have heart failure and then monitor your condition going forward every 3 to 6 months. Your doctor will talk to you about knowing your body and symptoms that mean your heart failure is getting worse. You'll need to learn to watch for changes in your heart rate, the feel of your pulse, blood pressure, and changes in your weight. You'll also need to limit salt in your diet, stop drinking alcohol, quit smoking if you need to, exercise, lose weight if you need to, and get enough rest. Your doctor will probably ask you to take medicines to treat your heart failure. These medicines can treat your symptoms, prevent your heart failure from getting worse, and help you live longer. If you have heart failure, taking your medicines, changing your lifestyle, and treating the condition that caused heart failure can go a long way toward improving your health. But heart failure is a chronic or long-term illness, which means it may get worse over time. Make sure you call your doctor if you start coughing more, or if you have a sudden weight gain, or swelling, or you feel weak. And have someone take you to the emergency room right away if you're having trouble with fainting, a fast and irregular heartbeat, or feel severe crushing chest pain.
All right. We have seen how the heart works, right? The reason why we're having a heart failure is now the work of the heart is to pump blood into the organs so that our organs can get oxygen, can get blood, and then they can function properly. But now, when there is too much of the oxygen and the blood that is needed, and the heart cannot pump enough, then that inability for the heart not to pump blood efficiently to the body organs can cause the heart failure, because now there's too much demand from the organs and the heart cannot supply that. And this becomes a long-term condition that gives, during this, there's often signs that we can see. And it's not just a sudden attack. There are signs that you see when you are going towards a heart failure. And now, if there's this too little supply from the heart distribution and there's too much demand from the organs, then gradually the heart is going to give in, and you will now have like the shortness of breath. You can't breathe properly, and you have the swollen feet, and all of that. And ultimately, you have a heart attack where the heart just totally shuts down and not just do the load shedding that it normally does. It just shuts down completely. So we don't want to see ourselves in that state, because that shutdown has been looming in the air, and we want to make sure that we come up with solutions. We resuscitate this heart so that it can breathe again, and it can pump blood again to the system. So basically, this is where we are now. We are at a stage where we are having a heart problem, but it doesn't mean that when you're having a heart attack that your heart stops pumping. It means that it needs attention, and that is what we need to be looking into right now. And basically, that's where we are now. And this is now the energy crisis is the heart failure, where now the coal powered power plants can no longer generate enough power, just like a heart can no longer generate enough blood into the organs. So our power plants, they are really giving in. And the power outage, we've been having this power outage for the past 14 years now, which actually kind of heightened in 2021. And we know that in South Africa, Eskom gives electricity, 80% of electricity that we are using comes from Eskom, which means it comes from the coal generated electricity. So 20% of that now should be coming from the renewable energies or clean or green energy, and it should grow from there. So we see we are having 80% coming from a very weak heart. How are we going to survive? How is the body or the body organs going to survive when the heart is this weak? You know, so we need to really resuscitate it, because now the energy power cuts, the outages, it's causing the dilapidated in economy. Now the South African economy is losing 200 million, almost, or around about 200 million rands every single day due to power cuts, because now there's more demand for electricity and there's less supply. And now that's why we are having this heart failure, because now there's lack of generated power. So the generating capacity of these power plants is not really giving enough energy, and that's why we're having these load shedding. So the load sheddings are there to prevent a total collapse of the grid, so we really need to do something. That's why we are having these master classes, because we really need to do something about this crisis. We need to come up with solutions, with this current crisis that we have. And the solutions that we have is the digital solutions. We know when we talk of renewables, we're talking of digital energy. The coal powered power plants are generating power from coal, and that is, they are generating power from something that is physical, something that you can touch. We can touch coals. But renewable energy like the sun, we cannot touch the sun. You cannot touch the heat, you know and now, something that you cannot touch, there are some technologies that have to be used, because now these technologies need to talk to the problem. So there's got to be digital transformation that happens as we come up with these energy technologies, because these energy technologies need to talk to the solution, where now all these industries are interconnected by smart technology. And that's exactly what we're talking about. But now that also does not come without challenges, right? As much as we need to generate this power from these renewables or green or clean energy, there's got to be some kind of transparency in the technologies that are being used. There's got to be some kind of security, and these technologies need to be scalable and they need to be regulated. So how can that possibly happen? You know, um, Now this actually takes us to the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, where they are basically talking about this, Jana or Yana. I don't know how it's pronounced, but Kopernik, who is the global technical specialist in the energy sector of UNDP. He has tabulated it quite nicely, all these digital technologies that are needed for the just energy transition. When we're talking about just transition or just energy transition, we are talking about us having to move from the power that we currently enjoy or have now into the clean energy. So anything that is through a transition period is something that is moving from one level into the next, changing kind of position. But now just means it has to happen in a way that does not negatively affect the climate or the environment. So we need, as we transition into clean energy, we need to do it in a way that it does not negatively impact on our climate or on our environment. And we can only do that by bringing smart energy. So UNDP is tabulating these, where it says now we need smart energy management of this energy renewable harvesting. We need decentralized energy system, so that we can be able to feed, even up into the rural areas, our rural communities, We need to be able to track all that or what we are harvesting and transmitting. And we need digital solar mini grids, solar kind of solar mini solar farms that work independently of the national grids. So we also need digital energy for farming. We need to come up with energy technologies that are fit for farming, like solar powered technologies. We also need smart technologies for public transportation. Can we see now that energy is an all rounder? It has to be in all these industries, and we need digital transformation technologies to be able to transform and transcend into a just energy economy. And for all of this, it needs knowledge, right? So we don't want to be just like that cleaner who was cleaning that aeroplane, who was doing all of that, flying the plane without having the skill, without having the experience, without having the knowledge or proper knowledge or full knowledge. We don't want that. So we need to come up with a very holistic solution. So we have talked about these solutions in our previous masterclasses. And lastly, we have talked of the energy opportunities as well. So we've talked of the energy crisis, we've talked of the energy solutions, and we also touched on the energy opportunities. And one of the opportunities that we currently have on our lap is the data center. Remember now, if we are able to develop these energy technologies, we need to do them we need to do this in a way where we know that at the end we are going to own up to these technologies, and we are going to control and manage them in our own data centers. We cannot have our information sitting in data centers outside this continent, and we need capacity. So that is one of the energy opportunities, because we do have a data center right now that is ready to be developed in this country, which should be the first solar powered data center that this continent has seen so far. And we are currently driving and pioneering something that has not been done in this continent. And as an army of queens or humanity tribe, we can do this. And we have opportunities where we can develop and install solar farms. We have land already that's readily available, ready for us to start working on these projects. We are also having projects that can develop and install the community farms. And we also have developed social network, which will help us communicate, through all these stages of the energy economy in the metaverse. Now, lastly, we also are working on developing our own metaverse, where we will be able to track and trace, transform and manage and control our energy economy, because the energy has given us an opportunity to create yet a new economy in the energy space, which is called energy economy. And the only place that this can be built and developed is in the metaverse. So we need to be able to understand what this metaverse is. And we're talking about just one project, the first one, which is the data center, to the amount of 2.4 billion. And 2.4 billion rand is really enough to feed the 20 or up to 50 top 50 queens that we are looking for. So when you are coming in and investing or upgrading in our bioscope, and we saying that you are going to receive a shareholding, you are going to receive a share of this contract. We are not talking about a pie in the sky. We are not talking about something that has not really been developed. We are talking about something that is really sitting there waiting for the funding, or for us to finalize the final details of what is needed to finalize the funding. And now it's not something that's too good to be true. It's something that's realistic, that's there, that's authentic and legit, and it is something that we really need to commit into. So for example, when you upgrade on the bioscope, you will need to, if you're in category B, you will need to build a network. So when you build the network, You will build it according to the criteria and requirements. And once you reach all those requirements, then you are eligible to be able to receive the contract from this 2.4 billion rand that will carry you for the next 20 years. So let's work towards these queens and make sure that we help other queens as well to come and be part of this opportunity. We are talking here about the energy revolution. It's not coming. Right, Queens, we need to always remember this. The energy revolution is not coming, it has already arrived. It is here, and it is not begging for you and me to really be part of. It is making itself comfortable. So if we're still waiting, thinking it's coming, it came 20 years ago. It is here, and we need to make sure that we are also part of that. And this um, this metaverse that we are talking about, or this energy economy masterclass that we are talking about something that, I don't know, there's something happening with my slides here. Yeah, so the energy revolution is here, and it has gotten itself comfortable. Where? In the metaverse. So if we're still waiting for it to come, we are too late, because it's already making itself comfortable in the metaverse right now. So the only thing we need to do ourselves is we need to study more about this metaverse in terms of knowing exactly what. All right, so here is the question, Queens. Are you ready? Are you ready to be part of the team that will be building energy economy in this digital space? Because we're talking about digital energy that needs digital solutions. And here the digital solutions lie in the metaverse. It might sound like a dream right now, but what is the metaverse? I think that's the first step we really need to be asking ourselves. The metaverse is a virtual mirror of the actual world. That's my definition. Many people have come with so many other definitions, but my definition is that the metaverse is a virtual mirror of the actual world that creates a unified interface of interoperability between various industries. So, energy is the glue to all these other industries. And now the metaverse becomes the virtual mirror of what we are doing in the real world. So, there's nothing new in the metaverse. It's just we are enhancing the real world by coming up with better technologies that are helping us to thrive in the technology world. We need to thrive and transform in these technology times, and we need to cover this meta economy, in the metaverse, which is called the digital second economy. That's what we are creating. And this is actually created by the birth of the metaverse. And now we need to be able to know how we can incorporate Africa's own currency, because energy is the next currency. So how do we incorporate energy into this meta world, or the metaverse? We need to look at the opportunities that are brought by this metaverse, how we can gain back the jobs that have been lost, because businesses jobs have been lost into this digital world. We need to look at how we can align ourselves and our businesses to be future ready for this virtual world. And we will also need to look at the importance of integrating a homegrown social network platform into this metaverse, because the gateway to any metaverse is the social network platform. So we cannot go to the metaverse without having to go through the network platform, because people need to socialize in that meta world. And we already have this. And we also need to look at how women merchants can be empowered to thrive and assisted to set up in this virtual world. So we need to be looking into this, and it is only in the metaverse where we will be able. So we need to start working on the metaverse solutions and technologies now, not in the future. We don't want to play a catch-up game. When we playing a catch-up game, it's already too late. So if you didn't know, now you know that the metaverse is a big deal. You know, Metaverse is a big deal. People have been talking about it with all sorts of different explanations, clarities, but the bottom line is that energy is the big deal. It has started affecting your jobs, your businesses, it is coming for your lifestyle, and sooner or later it will affect your pocket big time. So you need to start creating a good and positive, beneficial, and intentional friendship with it now. So we need to start now creating a friendship with the metaverse because it is here. It's not coming. Very few people have successfully managed to explain what it is, and to me it's a world that enhances what we do. It's helping us do what we do in the physical world better and faster. Money needs speed, so for us to really be able to create this economy, we need speed. We cannot do it without speed. And for us to get into anything, we need to know exactly what it is. So, right now, we need to give ourselves time to understand what this metaverse is. It must not be just like a dream in our minds, but it must be real. We must make it real, and not only real, but we must use it, start using it. We are basically starting to build our own metaverse now called Rolliverse, which now Rollit has fully been migrated and transcended into Web3, then we will be able to get into the metaverse, which is now our Rolliverse. So we need to be ready now. And once we have our Rolliverse, metaverse, that's where now we start building our energy economy into it. So whatever projects that we are doing, they will be incorporated in our metaverse. So the data center projects that we're talking about, it will be incorporated in the metaverse. So you will be able to see how much has been generated, how much has been developed. So your part that you will be given, you will see it there as you install and commission. You will see your own progress in the metaverse, and you will be able to see the power generated through this entire solar farm going into the data center. You will see all of that, in the metaverse. There is no better place we really want to be right now, but here in Africa and in this space, in this energy space. So, in my opinion, the metaverse should not aim to create a different life away from the physical, which is what other companies are doing, including the Meta company. But we want to create an improved world from the physical, where we are building the digital worlds, connecting our physical world to the virtual world. And I'm very much obsessed with the metaverse, and you might not understand my crazy passion in this virtual world. I've really been addicted to this since 2012. I've developed concept document around exactly what is happening today, and 10 years later, we see this happening in real life. So we must be able to believe in our dreams, believe in our visions, because they do not land on our minds for nothing. The reason, or the minute a vision comes into your mind and on your lap, it means you need to do something about it. And that's basically what we are currently doing now, thinking from the future and start acting on it now. But now, what is the metaverse? I see the metaverse as the fifth born child of the five children of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution has given birth to five children. To the first Industrial Revolution, the second, third, fourth. We've covered all these different types of revolution in our previous masterclasses, and the fifth one is this one that we are currently getting into now, and the metaverse is part of that. So we must be the ones giving birth to the fifth born of the Industrial Revolution. We have just enabled the birth of the first Industrial Revolution. The first Industrial Revolution actually was enabled by Africa, where they came to Egypt, and stole from the civilization that was happening around Egypt. And they took, whatever they took, the resources, they beneficiated them outside this continent and came back and sold them back to us. So we don't want to enable these industrial revolutions now, we want to be actively part of them. And for us to be able to be part, we really need to know, our story when it comes to the metaverse. We don't just want to learn about them, but we want to be in it. So this fifth industrial revolution is bringing back the third, not even bringing back, but it's bringing third generation, it is bringing the third generation of the internet, which is called Web3. That's why we're talking of Web3 now. Web3 means third generation of the internet. It is brought by the fifth industrial revolution. So we are in those times, and we need to really realize that this is also being birthed by Africa. I think that's one thing I really want us to really understand. The first industrial revolution was activated by Africa. Africa started the first industrial revolution, and the others piggybacked on the first industrial revolution. Now we don't want to be enablers this time. We want to give birth to it ourselves. So it will be disastrous for Africa if Africa cannot be part of this birth. We cannot be absent, from this birth right now. That would be very disastrous, because I want to believe that this is the last industrial revolution this world will ever see. And energy is the last resource Africa will ever have. I really want us to keep this in mind as we move, that now it is the last kicks of a dying horse. We don't want to be that dying horse, right? We want to resuscitate this failing heart. Now, I want to repeat this. Energy might be the last resource Africa may ever have. We've had our gold and diamonds and all these other minerals that are now getting depleted. And we have our last hope, which rests in energy. So if we miss this one, then we will never be able to rise. And this probably is the last industrial revolution. This fifth industrial revolution we are getting in now is probably the last, and we need to use it to the best of our abilities. I want us to keep in mind as we move forward. And if this is the last revolution, and energy is the last resource, and we have the solution, which is in the metaverse, let's use it. Let's build all of this together. Let's work together in making sure that we don't cry, when the time comes and we no longer are able to use this. So we are talking about the metaverse. I want you to remember this masterclass. This is the most important of all the masterclasses we've ever really engaged in, because now this is giving us the ultimatum of what we need to do, where we need to go. We need to be in the metaverse. It does not matter. I don't care what other people say about it, whether they say negative things about it. We need to be in the metaverse. We cannot afford to be playing a catch up when now this world does not really beg us, because it's not going to beg us to partake from this. Is going to force us. We don't want to be forced. We want to build and position ourselves before everybody else is forced to. And this is an era of convergence. Two worlds are converging here, the physical and the digital, right? And that's what is causing the metaverse. So the metaverse is where now we need to learn to coexist in these two worlds. And energy is playing a most central role in all of this transformation, all of this digital transformation. And there's data collection that is going to be happening, which is very important for energy efficiency. We're talking about energy efficiency and energy efficient equipment and solutions. So we need to know how to make our energy efficient, and how important the data collection will be in the metaverse world. So now the energy metaverse is basically the ticket to Africa's freedom. If we say we want freedom and we want the world to really see that we are indeed the mother of the world, then the energy metaverse is our ticket. We need to use it to build our energy economy right there. We need to build a future-proof economy economy without red tapes and bureaucracy, because in the metaverse, there isn't any of that. We are able to create our own economy and community called DAO, the decentralized autonomous community that will be able to rule and control whatever is generated in that world. And we must not forget that next month we are looking forward to Gala Awards in August 2023 of the first annual Gala Awards in Women in Future Energy. So, future energy is what we're talking about, digital energy, where we are being futuristic in building the economy. And we will be awarding these awards to the deserving queens who will have worked their way out into there. We are also looking forward to a trip to India via Dubai, where we will be meeting our partners who will be able to transfer skills and technology to us so we are able to stand on our own. You know, uh, now, but there's a few things we need, right? We need to know. Before I can stop here, there are important announcements I need to make, or changes, or new strategies that will need to be implemented. We've actually seen that our women are really struggling in terms of building these networks or even explaining this to the people. It becomes too complex for them to understand because the energy is a new concept and topic altogether for us. And now we really need to be able to understand it so that we can explain it to other people and we are able to build these networks. So, because we only have just above 100 people who have upgraded, and we need at least 500 to be in this race. And if we have just over 100 and we are left with 5 weeks, we don't have time. So we really need to come up with, strategic moves moving forward. So we have come up with 3 categories. And the first category is those people who just want to invest in shares and don't want to invite or build teams or networks, where they say, okay, I'm just going to put in my money and invest and just wait for my dividends. And in this category, you are able to invest between 1,500 to 15,000 Rand, and you can invest in those shares. You can invest as companies, you can invest as individuals, you can invest as families, you can put in your children. For example, if you say, I want to invest with 15,000 and I'm going to put in 3 of my girls who I will invest 15,000 Rand each. That's 60,000 Rand for your family, which is quite acceptable. If you're a group of women who have formed part of this organization, you can do that as an organization. And you can also do it as a company as well if you would rather invest as a company. And category B is those people who say that they want to upgrade on Bioscope so that they could benefit from the shares, and they also want to build their teams. And for them to build the teams, there is a requirement of them building 6 generations of queens. A generation is made up of 5 queens. So in your first generation, you invite 5 queens, and then you teach these queens to build their own generations of 5 queens each until 6 stages. So category B is for the top 500 that we are looking for. So if you are within the top 500 that you will build. So we have in the top 500, we have the top 50 who needs to build to build 6 generations, and we have the second rank, which is the top 200. In the top 200, you need to build at least 4 generations of 5 queens each. And now the last one is top 300. In the top 300, you need to build at least 2 generations. So, which means if I invite 5 queens and I must help these 5 queens to invite 5 queens each, which will give me 125 queens who are in my network. That puts me in top 300. All of these form under category B, and all of these will be identified. The top 50 or top 20 will be identified for the awards in August, and also they will be eligible to receive the projects. So if you want to receive the projects, if you want to receive the funds, the money, and also if you want to receive the investment on Tribuy and also the shares, the free shares, you can form part of category B by building your networks. Now, category C is for those people who say they don't have money at all, but they would be interested to invest in Bioscope and Triber. So what's going to happen is from next month we will be introducing our new partners in the advertising space, where now you will be able to get on to roll it and watch the adverts. And by watching the adverts, you will be able to earn, and you can use your earnings to invest in Bioscope, or you can invest in Triber. But now the only disadvantage of category A and B is that you don't receive the benefits of category B. In category A, you only become a shareholder and receive dividends, as well as category C, you only receive investments, you only receive your shareholding. But now in category C is that it's going to take longer, because now if you go and roll it and harvest these earnings, then it might take you longer, maybe months, for you to even start having this money. But the beautiful part is that at least you will be working towards something where we will pay you to come and invest in our opportunities. And now by having these three categories, it means now we have options for all, where we are inclusive. Nobody is locked outside. Everybody now can be part of these solutions. But we are going to go deeper into this from next week, where we go deeper into these categories as we start our campaign, our 30-day challenge, campaign. And I think you might have heard us talking about WIPFIN and WIP Invest all the time. This is where your shareholding rests. So when you become a shareholder, you will be a shareholder in this company. WIP Invest owns 20% shares from Mandroli, and Mandroli is the mother of Rollit, Rolliverse, and all these social spaces. So you are also going to be a shareholder in WIPFIN. WIPFIN is the mother of Triber, the energy fund. So you basically will be receiving dividends from all these projects and opportunities. And also, just to recap on what WIPFIN is, WIPFIN is a subsidiary of WIP Invest. WIP Invest is Women in Power Invest, an empowerment company for women. And WIPFIN also has a digital banking feature or mobile payment that manages the Triber Energy Fund. We also have Izuzamo Investment Stockfell, which we started in 2020 and kind of stopped it during the COVID in 2020. And we will be resuming this in the next few months or even weeks, because there is a huge demand of this Zuzamo Investment Stockfell, because it will also help our queens to generate or create, capital for their investments in Bioscope and Triber. And the investment portfolio of WIP Invest has 20% shares in Mandroli. It has shares in Quench Beverages, the resealable can project that we also talked about in our previous masterclasses. It is also a shareholder in the Mushroom Concept, a company that will be manufacturing mushroom seats for the Mandroli automobile. And basically, that is all we will be talking about. One more thing I would like to talk about is I want to say my sincere gratitude and appreciation to these queens, Queen Bonks M and Queen Portia. They have taken an initiative and taken from their own pocket and time to design and manufacture and have sent or delivered to us some gifts in terms of the golf shirts that are branded, the branded mugs, the branded mirrors, the branded key rings, all of that we really do appreciate. And the mouse pad, the branded mouse pad, and we appreciate that. And now I want to say to all the rest of the other queens, those who have upgraded on Bioscope, you are eligible to go and advertise your companies on our marketplace called Rolly City. And please make use of that space. You will find it on your menu when you log into Roll It. Go to the main menu and roll down. You will see Rolly City. You go in there, you can put your products there. We will approve it. Just check if you are indeed an upgraded member. Now, when you put your products on the marketplace, it will be available to all the users of Rollit platform. It doesn't necessarily have to be the masterclass members, but everyone who is in Rollit social space will be able to be exposed to your products. And also, when people start making money or earning from the adverts and chatting and all of that, then they will be having money that they can spend on the marketplace. So if you start advertising your companies there, you stand a greater chance of even more exposure and making more money and creating more revenue, through this platform. And thank you so much, Queens, for really dedicating your time in going through this masterclass and all this recording. And we do appreciate your your presence, your commitment, and your trust in what we are bringing to you. And we are looking forward to seeing you next week, where we'll be talking about the campaign and also how we can support one another. Don't forget to join in your physical meetups in your area. Ask the person who has invited you here. There are physical meetups that have started in Cape Town, in Gauteng, and Pretoria, and we are hopeful that in other parts of the province there will be more meetups that we also want to support and help as they build their way into the award ceremony in August. And thank you so much, Queens. We are looking forward to having you next week, and where we might probably be more bigger and better, because that's what we need to be as we approach the August event. So may you all have a blessed week ahead, and a whole beautiful long weekend until we meet again next week. Goodbye.